Yo, what's going on? I got inspired to kind of do this idea over a couple of things I've seen in a couple of streams, but in addition to how badly my roles were going, I thought to myself, hey, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to get Itto without getting Goro. Like, I'm talking whether you're a whale, dolphin. I feel like unless you're willing to spend a lot, there's a big chance you might not get any Goros. Talk less of any constellations of Goro. But I thought to myself, let's say you just got Itto and C0 Itto. What teams would you be able to run him in? And I just thought to myself, you know what? Why don't we try Archaic Petra? And so in the Archaic Petra comps, right? It's essentially he's going to be able to buff the rest of his team. 4 pieces for Archaic Petra, he'll be able to buff his entire teams. Meanwhile, being able to kind of use characters you most likely already built. So one thing that I see with it after testing it for so long, at first I'm testing just like buffing Jincho, because Jincho is his ult is dynamic. It doesn't snapshot. It doesn't so. You're able to buff him midway through. As you can see, like I could pick up a Hydro Crystal and buff Jincho and make him do more damage. So I'm testing rotations where I'm buffing, Jincho. Because you can't really buff Zheng Ling after the fact. You kind of have to buff her before it for her to snapshot the buff. So I'm kind of like seeing the rotations. If I do everything and I do Itto last, how is it going to go? The rotations are okay. But for me personally, as you'll see later on in the video, I kind of prefer having, buffing Zheng Ling more than buffing Jincho. And because then, Zheng Ling can, like you just saw there, she can snapshot it. She snapshots the burst. Then, if I pick up a Hydro Crystallized Shield, then I can buff Jincho. So basically a way for me to get around the restrictions of Archaic Petra. I can buff one, and I can buff I can buff her, snapshot it, then move over to Jincho. I do have to, and from what I can see, I'm able to buff both of them this way. But if I'm doing anything wrong, please let me know in the comment section. I tested this quite a lot, but I could still be wrong. But yeah, so far I'm seeing that like nice rotations is and it makes it's kind of, I like the Itto National because Ushi and Golba get to play together. Like two of the summonables get to play together, which is kind of fun. Right now, I'm just showcasing Itto's damage by itself, just so you can kind of see what he's contributing to the team. Because a lot of the time, you'll see like if the enemies are a little too light, he'll be lifting them into the air, and then Zhang Ling can't really hit him, and Jincho will still be able to hit him if he's not doing the charge attack. But if he is doing the charge attack, no one but himself is going to be able to hit them. So it's kind of bad. It's kind of bad in that sense, type of thing. So that's one of the things I have seen about it, is that like if the enemies are light, and this is where you get to see like how much damage bonus he gets. He has 81 with his with his passive and everything, and his artifacts. You get to see how much damage bonus is being given by Archaic Petra. But the one thing I have noticed about the rotations is that sometimes, like if they're very light, Itto will be the only one doing damage, and he'll be like kind of like ping-ponging them in the air, and then Zhang Ling can't really hit them. So that's one thing to note. If you're gonna have like a lot of enemies that can be ping-ponged by Itto, having this kind of team might not be the best. But if you see like this, guys, they aren't really going into the air. It's actually pretty nice. It's pretty destructive, and we're gonna test it in different domains as well. So personally, from what I've seen, I kind of like not really having Jincho there, just so that he doesn't, you could kind of. I kind of like having the double geo. It just makes more sense. Itto does a lot more damage, and you're still able to buff the other characters with Archaic Petra. You can have your Noel, your Albedo. You can have your Goro. Most likely Goro, maybe not Ningguang or the Traveler, because they don't really work as well from what I've seen. Maybe I have to test out more rotations, but even Zhongli would be very, very good for this team. Red Shred and Geo Resonance. This form of team is really, really nice to me. So instead of the regular national, maybe you can free up your Jincho and put him into your freeze comp, and then kind of just do double Geo. Or you can do animal. So if you need some grouping or some CC for your Itto, then you can throw in your Venti, you can throw in your Sucrose, you could throw in your Kazuha. And Kazuha is going to be one of the more interesting ones, and that's the one I want to show for a variance of National, or at least, you know, 2 members of National with Itto. This variance is the most interesting to me is because you can double buff your Xiangling. You buff with Archaic Petra, then you buff with Kazuha, and then you pop your Xiangling, and then you just kind of go ham. And you can kind of see the Xiangling doing some pretty nasty numbers, about 24k non-reactions, so it's actually pretty freaking good. And yeah, she got quite a bit of damage bonus right there. The Kazuha fell off for a little bit. I was using Freedom Sworn, so I'm switching over to Iron Sting, just to kind of make it as free-to-play friendly as possible. But yeah, so we're going to try this again. And you're still going to see it drops down by like a K per ult, but it's still really good. And we kind of get to see how much damage bonus it is. It's really nice. So it gives around 74.3%. Xiangling gives herself 15, but it doesn't actually go into the ult. But Guoba does get it. So Guoba gets about like 100 and like 34 damage bonus. So that's pretty nice. So Guoba's doing, you know, pretty decent damage himself. But yeah, you can kind of see Raiden, I try to, like, if you try to mimic Raiden National with Jincho, it's not as good type of thing, especially because the charge attacks, you know, they don't proc, or they didn't, you know, like, they don't enable Jincho's ult, so it's not as good. Personally, for me, this is the best variation. If you're lucky enough to get even a single Goro, because it is very difficult. I feel like MiHoYo has turned up the the fees. They've turned up the rates for the 4 stars. So it's been really, really, really annoying. But if you were lucky enough to get one, you can kind of see the massive jump in damage, while Xiangling is still able to do high levels of damage. The one issue I do see with Archaic Petra, unfortunately, is that you won't, if you're fighting against, you know, characters that have like this Semichurl or Hilchurl, that have like some type of elemental status of the, you know, on them already, is going to be annoying. You could do what I just did there, that little hack before they shield up. You can kind of, you know, hit them with element and then quickly crystallize it, and you'll be able to still buff Xiangling. But that's another nerf for it. If you're going to do the Archaic Petra build. But personally, if you have enough good, effective crit stats, I like it. The build feels like it works. Alright, thanks for watching.